In this quick video, I'm going to show you how you can increase your show up rate past 90% and get more educated leads who are ready to buy when they do show up to the phone by using a simple automation in your call confirmation texts and emails. Now, this is the same process we've used to generate over $7.2 million in client results for over a dozen clients at this point. And all of those case studies and results are documented and broken down on my channel. But before I go any further, I do need to let you know that this process is going to work for you only if you run a VSL Book a Call funnel, a application call funnel, or even a low ticket call funnel, as long as there is some sort of application or questionnaire that you ask your prospects before they get to book the call with you. Because what I'm going to show you how to do is how to turn those Typeform applications into personalized pre-call sequences. And just to help you understand what I mean, and you're going to understand why this works so well, what you're going to be able to do is turn texts like this that confirm people's calls, the generic text confirmations or email confirmations that tell them the time and give them general information and point them to their resources, into texts like this, where not only do you mention the time, but you mention their specific pain point that they answered in the Typeform or your pre-call form, as well as mention the specific goals they have, and personalize your texts and emails based on what they answer in your pre-call forms. Because when you stop sending texts like this and you start sending personalized texts like this when people book the call with you, what's going to happen is they're going to be a lot more invested in actually watching your pre-call videos and getting educated. And they're going to believe that you actually care about them a lot more than if you start sending them generalized text messages. Now, how do you actually do this? Let me show you an example that we use with this client here to set up this automation for all the calls we book every single day. So his form has a few questions. Specifically, there's 4 questions. The first question is the goal that they have, what they want to do, right? They want to make 10K per month. They want to stay consistent. This is a mindset offer, by the way. So what we did with this creator here is we rewrote these answers that are generic, right, that they're answering in the Typeform, into a format that can be inserted into emails and pre-call texts. So you can start making consistent money every single month. Or in this example here, it was this question, right? The prospect answered, I would finally trust myself and stop second guessing everything I do. And in the text, we broke that down as start trusting yourself without ever second guessing yourself again. So now we're connecting these pre-call texts directly to their desires, their pains, as well as the fear they have of what's going to happen if nothing changes. We can even connect the qualification questions that we ask our prospects in the form, like where they're at right now with their business, right? 0 to 2K per month, 2 to 5, 5 to 10, to the actual text messages and the sequence. So what we're going to do is we're going to frame the pre-call asset that we send them as exactly what's going to show them how to stop being stuck at the 5 to 10K per month range that they're currently stuck at. So we turn this qualification question into a personalized message that automatically got populated and sent out to the prospect by using this automation. And this is something we've applied through the entire sequence. So now instead of sending generalized text, they're getting personalized messages from us. And the reason this works so well is because you stand out. Instead of being another guru who just sends them generic confirmation messages, you're actually sending them exactly what they mentioned in the Typeform or in the pre-call application. So you get their attention, you give them a personal reason to watch the pre-call and attend the call, right? So now you're increasing your consumption and you're making sure the prospects show up educated, because we're literally saying, watch this. This is going to help the exact pain point that they mentioned in the Typeform, as well as help you get to the exact goal that they mentioned in the Typeform. This is getting them to follow through on the commitment they made in the form. And also, people love personalized experiences. People love salespeople who actually care about them. And this doesn't feel like, again, another guru who's just trying to get a quick buck from them and is trying to get them to watch testimonials before the call, just creating sales resistance right off the bat. It actually seems like we want to help them because we are mentioning, again, exactly what they said in the form. And by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about here with the pre-call sequence and the pre-call form, there's another video on my channel showing you the exact step-by-step process of everything we do to get our show up rate to 90% and above. Now that you understand why personalizing your pre-call sequences is so important, this is how you're going to integrate it. And by the way, these integration steps are specifically made for Go High Level. So if you use a different platform, you're going to have to take this and apply this in your own platform. But step number 1 is to create the custom fields in GHL, right? So for all the questions that you have here, if you have 4 questions, 5 questions, maybe 10 questions in your Typeform, the more the better. Of course, you have to weigh out, the drop-off rate that you're going to get in your Typeform with more questions, but that's outside of the point. So with this creator here, we have 4 questions in the type form. So for every question, we create a type form custom field. So there's a goal rewritten, right, for the goal question. There's a pain rewritten for the pain question. There's a fear of an action rewritten. This is exactly what we insert into the text message and email. And there's their current situation rewritten. The current situation is where they're currently at in their income. So in our case, we create 4 text custom fields based on these questions. Then we're going to use Zapier and we're going to build a reformats app. And what's going to happen is when prospects fill out this type form, the Zapier is going to reformat their answers into these pre-built answers that are formatted for text messages and emails, where they can just be plugged in for every single prospect based on their specific response. And then it's going to send that to GHL. So then in GHL, it's going to pop up as those custom responses that can actually fit into text messages. Because this here, if we said you mentioned making 0 to 2K per month, wouldn't fit into a text message or email. I think you understand that, right? So that's why we have to rewrite it. And the way you're going to do it in Zapier is by using the formatter lookup tables. You're going to do 1 per question. And this is going to be the cleaner and faster way than doing the if and else chain in GHL. The trigger you're going to set up is going to be type form, new entry, and then you're going to select the call booking form or whatever form you use pre-call with your prospects. And then you're going to follow this formatter sequence in your Zapier for every single question that you have based on these custom fields that you rewrote in GHL. Once you set this up, you're going to be able to update the contact inside of GHL based on these reformatted responses. And you're going to be able to do that with Lead Connector. It is very simple. Just follow this process here on the screen step by step. And once you do these 2 steps here and your prospects type form answers are getting reformatted into personalized answers that you can insert in text messages and emails, you're just going to plug it into your call confirmation sequence. So now this first message in the call confirmation sequence turns from this, where we just have the call time and the contact's name, in a generic message for them to watch the pre-call asset, into this, where we say their name, we say the time, and then we mention that we put together the specific sequence for their specific pain. And by the way, by sequence, I mean the pre-call trainings, right? We put together the pre-call trainings for their specific pain. And then the next message talks about how this is going to be exactly what's going to show them how we can help them achieve their goals, or how they can achieve their goals. And this is going to better prepare them before their call so they can show up ready and make sure that in 6 months from now, they don't have to experience the fear that they had here in question 3, which is fear of inaction or cost of inaction, right? If nothing changes, right? So in 6 months, you don't have to feel like you wasted your potential living the same day on repeat, for example. So we create a cost of inaction and we create urgency for them to watch the pre-call material. And then we do the same thing for them to show up to the call. The response from prospects from this is going to be much higher than sending the same old generic sequences that you're probably sending right now. And this is exactly how you're going to increase your show up rate to and past 90% and get more educated prospects who actually consume your resources pre-call, because you're going to be giving them a reason to do so with personalized pre-call messages. And this can be also applied to all your GHL sequences as long as they fill out an application beforehand and you have this information on them. Again, if you need more help improving your show up rate, watch this other video on my channel. If you have any questions, comment below or message me on IG.